sort of an etatist conservative, a modernizing conservative, a Hungarian supranationalist before 1919, who is the guy who gives the most annexionist, so the most imperialist speech in the Hungarian parliament in March 1917 of the whole history of the war. He's the only guy in Hungarian parliament to stand up and say, let's annex Serbia, because come on, and also parts of Romania, so that we won't have trouble in the future. He's the single most imperialist speaker in parliament. So he's an exception because for some reason, and I can't explain you that, he's a very not representative figure because it takes a turn towards conservatism and to some extent even to some liberal principles. I cannot explain that, or I think it would involve too much psychology and uncertainty on my part, but I would very much argue that he's an exception. And that what we see for every Batman you find in Hungarian political and intellectual history, you find 20 telekis. So people who shift to the right.
On the one hand, the public is quite tired after 4 hours work. On the other hand, the president of the commission has a question. Therefore, I'll make an exception and we'll finish then with number 2.
Thanks a lot for the exception, but not because of the function. My question is dealing with this section 2, reform and stagnation. And my question is, do we have with Yugoslavia and Hungary 2 different models dealing with the great economic challenges which both countries were confronted with? On the one side, the new Yugoslav state who had the problem of integrating very, very different areas as you presented as by the many figures relating industry, agriculture, employment, and so on. And on the other side, Hungary seems to have to solve another question, because not integrating was the great question that economic was confronted with, but it was how to deal with a smaller territory in order to reorganize its economy. Would you agree with such a simple model?
I would, but I don't think it explains the specific outcomes we're seeing in the 20s. I think those outcomes are better explained by the ideological preferences of the person who most successfully concentrates enough political power behind himself, and that's better. So I don't think that there is adaptation, but the way it was done, I don't think it was prescribed by these large givens, but more it's better explained by the peculiarity of having a conservative restoration and how it unfolds. But yes, of course it was a challenge, and you could argue that on the few occasions where Batman had to swallow his preferences, you see its traces. Like, he would have preferred much lower customs, but then economically he became convinced that because of this new situation you needed higher tariffs on the border. So you're right, I think it can be traced, but the general outlines are I think, better explained with reference to political conviction. So there would have been other scenarios, which also means, importantly, that it wasn't a single necessary course. There was political choice.
Thank you. And the last word by the female speaker.
Well, yes, I totally agree with the problem of integration, and I don't think it's only the problem of the interwar era. It's even in socialism it was a big problem, and I think consequences we are seeing now, and if we see GDP per capita today, I think that if we have possibility to compare them with interwar era or before World War I, it would be the same. And those structures, they are the same. The quantitative data may arise, but the qualitative
Thank you very much, you all, for your attention, for your work, for your interest. I'm finishing now this panel and will give the turn to the local organizer for the next step of program.
Lunch?